Your matches are going to fail you. Not might, will. It's a question of when, not if. You drop your pack crossing a river. You get caught in a downpour with nothing but a wet jacket between you and hypothermia. You open that little waterproof container you were so proud of, and the matches inside are damp anyway. The chemical head has gone soft. The striker strip is peeling off, and humidity doesn't care about your marketing claims. You strike one, it crumbles. You strike another, the head falls off. You strike the last one, it lights for half a second, and the wind kills it before you can even get it near the kindling. Now you're wet, you're cold, and the sun is setting, and all those matches you stockpiled are worthless. Meanwhile, there's a piece of black fabric in my pocket that will catch a spark from a piece of broken glass, from a dead lighter, from two rocks banged together in the right way. It ignites at temperatures so low that a single spark from a ferro rod, lasting a fraction of a second, is enough to start a glowing ember. And I made it from an old t-shirt I was going to throw away. It's called char cloth. In the survival community, it's considered the gold standard for flint and steel fire starting. It's been used for centuries, and if you don't know how to make it, you're carrying the wrong fire starter. Let me tell you what char cloth actually is, because understanding the science is how you make it right. When you heat organic material, cotton, linen, plant fibers, in the absence of oxygen, something remarkable happens. It doesn't burn. It can't burn because burning requires oxygen. Instead, it undergoes a process called pyrolysis. That's chemical decomposition without oxygen. The volatile compounds in the material, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, get driven off as gases. What's left behind is almost pure carbon in a lattice structure. If you burned cotton in the open air, it would turn to white ash. Useless. But by restricting the oxygen, you're not burning it. You're transforming it. You're cooking off everything that isn't carbon. This carbon lattice has an incredibly low ignition temperature. Here's what matters. A spark that isn't even hot enough to light paper or wood is hot enough to ignite this carbon. That tiny spark from a flint strike, the one that would bounce harmlessly off kindling, lands on char cloth and immediately starts glowing. Now, does it really work in high humidity when matches fail? Yes, with one important caveat. Matches fail in damp air because the chemical head absorbs moisture and goes soft, or the striker strip peels away from the box. Char cloth doesn't have that problem. Even if the air is damp, a spark will catch. But, and this is critical, the char cloth itself must be dry. If you drop it in a puddle, it won't work until it dries out. The good news? Because it's black, it absorbs heat like crazy. Lay it in the sun for a few minutes and it's ready to go. You can even press it against your body under your shirt and your body heat will dry it. Now let me show you how to make it. You need three things: 100% cotton fabric, a metal container with a tight-fitting lid, and a fire. Let me be absolutely clear about the fabric. It must be 100% cotton. This is not optional. If you use a poly blend, that's polyester mixed with cotton, which is what most modern t-shirts are made of, the synthetic fibers will melt. You won't get char cloth. You'll get a melted plastic puck fused to the inside of your tin. Completely useless. So how do you know what you've got? Check the tag. If it says 100% cotton, you're good. If it says cotton polyester blend, 60-40 cotton poly, anything with synthetic fibers, don't use it. Old blue jeans work perfectly. Heavy cotton t-shirts from before manufacturers started cutting corners with blends. Cotton bandanas, canvas scraps, anything that was once a plant and is now pure cotton thread. If there's no tag, do the burn test. Cut a small piece and light it with a match. Cotton burns to soft gray ash and smells like burning paper. Synthetics melt into hard plastic beads and smell chemical. Know the difference before you waste time cooking a poly blend. Cut your fabric into squares. 2 inches by 2 inches is ideal, small enough to fit several in a tin, large enough to handle easily when you're cold and your fingers are shaking. Don't fold them into thick wads. You want single layers that will char evenly throughout. Now the container. An Altoids tin is the classic choice because everyone has one lying around. It's the perfect size, and the hinged lid seals reasonably well. But any small metal container works. A shoe polish tin, a small paint can, a mint tin. The metal conducts heat evenly and contains the reaction. Here's the critical step. You need a vent hole. Take a nail, a knife tip, an awl, anything sharp, and punch a small hole in the lid. One hole, about the diameter of a finishing nail, not too big. This hole is essential. Without it, pressure builds up inside as the gases escape the fabric. The lid blows off, oxygen rushes in, and your char cloth becomes regular white ash. That vent hole lets the gases escape while keeping oxygen out. And here's where the magic happens. Watch the hole during the process. Place your cotton squares in the tin. Don't pack them tight. You want a little space for gases to move. Close the lid firmly. Now put that tin in your fire. An established fire with good coals works best. Place it directly in the coals and watch. Within a few minutes, you'll see white smoke start jetting out of that hole. This is the money shot. This is pyrolysis happening in real time. You're watching the hydrogen and oxygen compounds being driven out of the cotton. That smoke jet is flammable. You can actually light it on fire, and it burns like a tiny gas stove flame shooting out of your tin. That's how you know the process is working. Keep watching. The smoke will be heavy at first, then gradually taper off. The moment the smoke stops coming out of the hole, stop. Pull the tin from the fire immediately using a stick or tongs. Now here's where most people ruin their batch. Do not open that tin. Do not even think about it. And this is the part most tutorials miss. Plug the hole. Take a small stick, a piece of wood, a nail, anything that will seal that vent hole, and plug it immediately. Why? Because that carbon inside is superheated. If fresh air gets in through the hole while it cools, oxygen reaches the hot carbon and it ignites. All your char cloth turns to white ash in seconds. You plug the hole, you trap the last of the inert gases inside, and the carbon cools safely. Let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes, until the tin is cool enough to handle comfortably. Then crack it open. What you'll find inside should be black, completely black. Not brown, not gray with black spots, solid black throughout. The fabric should hold its original shape but feel fragile, like it might crumble if you're rough with it. Pick up a piece and flex it gently. Good char cloth cracks. It doesn't bend. If it's still flexible, it's not fully charred. Close the tin, plug the hole, and cook it longer. If it turned to gray ash, something went wrong. Either the lid wasn't sealed well enough, the vent hole was too large, you didn't plug the hole when you removed it from the fire, or you opened it too soon. Try again with a new batch. Good char cloth feels almost weightless. It's just carbon now, a skeleton of what the fabric used to be. And that carbon is hungry for ignition. Let's test it. Take a piece of your char cloth and a ferro rod. That's the ferrocerium rod that throws sparks when you scrape it with steel. Strike a spark onto the cloth. One strike. Watch what happens. The spark lands and immediately begins to glow. An orange ember forms at the point of contact and begins spreading outward, slowly consuming the material. Now let me be clear about something. Char cloth does not produce flame. It produces an ember, a glowing red coal. This is not a failure. This is exactly what it's supposed to do. That ember is your fire starter, but you need one more step to get actual flames. You need a tinder bundle, a bird's nest. Gather dry grass, shredded bark, cattail fluff, dried leaves, anything light and fluffy that will catch fire easily. Form it into a loose ball, like a bird's nest with a depression in the center. Place your glowing char cloth ember into that depression. Wrap the bundle loosely around it. Don't smother it, just cradle it. Now bring it close to your face and blow. Gentle, steady breaths. You're feeding oxygen to the ember, and that ember is transferring heat to the surrounding tinder. The bundle will start to smoke. Keep blowing. The smoke gets thicker. Keep blowing. And then Flame. Real flame. Fire from a single spark that wouldn't have lit a match. This is how humans made fire for thousands of years before matches existed. Flint and steel, spark onto char cloth, ember into tinder bundle, blow it to flame, transfer to kindling. It works when it's raining. It works when your hands are wet. It works when your expensive waterproof matches have failed and your lighter is out of fuel. Store your char cloth in a waterproof container, ideally the same tin you made it in. It keeps indefinitely as long as it stays dry. Keep spare batches. Once you start making this stuff, you realize how absurd it is that you ever bought matches. Every old cotton t-shirt becomes potential fire. Every worn-out pair of jeans is fuel waiting to be processed. Your matches cost money and die when wet. Your lighters run out of fuel. Your fire steel throws sparks that have nothing to land on. Char cloth catches those sparks and turns them into ember. That ember becomes flame. That flame keeps you alive. It costs nothing. It lasts indefinitely in storage. And you make it from garbage. Stop buying matches. Start making char cloth. Because when everything goes wrong and the cold is closing in, fire is the difference between living and dying. And fire belongs to those who can make it from nothing.